where the United Nations Secretary General Anntonio Guterres is all set to meet with the Ukrainian and the Turkish president. The trio will address concerns over several issues, including that of grain exports and also of what is happening at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. The meeting in Ukraine's western city of Lviv will be followed by a joint address. The meeting's agenda includes addressing ways to increase the export of grain, while the key topic to be discussed is the worrying situation at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. The Ukraine and Russia have been trading charges over the shelling that's taken place near the eastern Ukrainian nuclear plant, which is still being operated by Ukrainian technicians, but is said to be under the control of the Russian soldiers. Kiev has blamed Moscow for the relentless strikes at the plant. Rubbishing Ukraine's claims, however, of deploying heavy weaponry at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Moscow has accused Kiev of preparing a situation that is provocative. Now remember, Zaporizhzhia is the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. It's been witnessing a fair bit of shelling in recent days, and the strikes at the nuclear plant have raised a serious alarm across the world.
The Kiev regime is preparing a resonant provocation at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant during the visit of UN Secretary General Anntonio Guterres to Ukraine. As the result, the Russian Federation would be blamed of creation of a technogenic disaster at the power plant.
Earlier, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky sought the withdrawal of the Russian troops from the nuclear power plant.
Ukrainian diplomats, our nuclear specialists and IAEA are in constant contact. They are now working together on sending an IAEA mission to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Only the absolute transparency and controllability of the situation in Zaporizhzhia and around it, for the Ukrainian state, for the international community, for the IAEA, can guarantee a gradual return to normal nuclear safety. The Russian army must withdraw from the territory of the nuclear power plant and all neighboring areas and take away its military equipment from the station. This should happen without any conditions and as soon as possible. Ukraine is ready to ensure proper control by the IAEA, and the corresponding mission can be sent to the Zaporizhzhia station in a legal way, very quickly and as efficiently as possible.
Now, owing to the rising risk of a nuclear disaster, Ukraine has conducted a drill for emergency workers in the nearby city of Zaporizhzhia. Now, the country's interior ministry has said that Kiev must prepare for all scenarios. Now, the United Nations nuclear watchdog, International Atomic Energy Agency, has sought a visit to the nuclear plant. Taking the IAEA's request into consideration, NATO's chief, Jens Stoltenberg, has said that it is urgent for the United Nations atomic watchdog to be allowed to inspect the plant. He also further said that Russia's seizure of the nuclear plant poses a serious threat to the safety and the security of neighboring nations. All right, now to give us more insights in terms of what's actually happening at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, we're being joined in by Mr. Ruslan Botnik, who is the director of the Ukrainian Institute of Politics. Now, Mr. Botnik, this of course is a question that needs an urgent resolution. What is happening at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant concerns not just Ukraine and Russia, but in fact the whole of that region in Europe. The question that I want to ask you is, if this nuclear power plant is under the control of the Russian soldiers, why would Russia want to shell this nuclear power plant?
Hello, colleagues. Hello, friends. It's not easy question, but I will try to be honest as I can in this situation. We should understand that the situation around the Ukrainian nuclear power plant, the nuclear atomic disaster, because this station is not also the biggest station in Europe, power plant station, but this station is also the biggest storage of nuclear fuel and the biggest storage of nuclear waste in Europe also. But we should understand this situation around this station. It's also a political question. It looks like the dialogue around the station looks like a changer of political situation, because if the disaster around the station will happen in the future, the great amount of territory, not only Ukraine but also Europe, should be polluted by nuclear waste. And this leads to the change this conflict to a new way of escalation, or the situation around this station will lead us to the change the situation to the closing of conflict in the war between the Ukraine and Russia.
Right.
This is a
now, Mr.
changer.
Botnik, let me just interject here. This is a high-risk game of nuclear one-upmanship that's being played over Zaporizhzhia. Now, the Russians quite clearly say that, listen, we control this nuclear power plant. Our soldiers are stationed there. The nuclear power plant at this point of time is being operated by Ukrainian technicians, but it is the Russian soldiers who are in charge of this Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. With that being the case, they say that it is Ukraine that is resorting to shelling at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. What do you have to say for that?
Yes, you're right, but we don't know who is shelling the state. What are the reasons of possible? I don't know also who is shelling. Of possible Russians shelling for this station. There should be few reasons. For example, it's the tactic nuclear weapon against Ukraine, right, because of defending the station. Also, it's a reason to stand up the question of atomic terrorism from Ukraine, and also it's question as reason to stand up the question of demilitarization of the territory of Ukraine. There are many questions, many ways how every side should use the situation for his demand.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Ruslan Botnik, for joining us and getting us all those updates. One can only hope that common sense prevails and that both Russia and Ukraine actually decide to do the right thing here. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.